Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Go to War project, Water, welcoming African Americans into recreational swimming. My name is Malia Burrows, and I'm going to be telling you guys about my project today. My Go to War project is about educating the African American community about the truths behind the misconceptions as to why Black kids don't swim. The title of my project is called Water, as I said, welcoming African Americans to engage in recreational swimming. The lack of representation of African Americans in swimming is an issue that is very important to me. As a Black competitive swimmer, it is difficult to recruit others to gain interest in swimming because of the stigmatism around the sport in the Black community. Parents and children that are interested in swimming often have concerns about hair care, skin care, eye care, swimsuits and swim caps, and most importantly, inclusivity. Feeling included and welcomed in the sport is what matters most, especially if you're the minority. So next I'm going to be talking about the root cause. The root cause of the problem is that the Black community has inherited a generational fear of swimming. In the 1920s and 30s, thousands of pools surrounded by beautiful lawns and sun decks were built in the United States. Due to racial segregation, Black families were prohibited from using these pools and were often met with police force. Intimidation and physical violence were other tactics used by white people to keep Black people from accessing the pools. The pools that were available to the Black community were small, unappealing, and unsafe. For those Black families that wanted their children to learn how to swim, they had to find someone who was willing to teach them. When they found a willing instructor, the prices of the class were usually unreasonable. These issues and more were the root cause of why there's a fear around swimming. How I'm taking action. Since COVID-19 has prohibited many pools from opening and are allowing swim classes, I want to start a YouTube channel to educate the public about swimming. Using surveys via social media to gather data will give me feedback on what the public knows about swimming. Creating a YouTube channel to post educational Google Slides with video interviews will make my project internationally accessible and sustainable beyond my involvement. So, this video today will be about statistics on Black swimmers. Swimming is a global sport with millions of people participating worldwide. However, the overwhelming majority of swimmers are white. According to a 2017 report from the USA Swimming Foundation, 64% of African American children surveyed ages 4 through 18 reported that they had no or low swimming ability, compared to 45% of Hispanic children and 40% of white children. According to the Economic Policy Institute's 2019 State of Working America Wages Report, African Americans make an average of 27.5% less than white Americans. If a Black family couldn't afford a private pool's membership fee, didn't live near a pool, and didn't have transportation to get to a public pool, swimming was not an option. In the United States, only 1% of almost 400,000 swimmers registered with the USA Swimming are African American. According to the USA Swimming Foundation, 76% of parents report that their children would be more interested in taking up swimming if they saw a talented swimmer that looks like them. According to the Center for Disease Control, between 1999 and 2010, the fatal unintentional drowning rate for African Americans was significantly higher when compared to Caucasians. The highest disparity is among children 5 to 18 years old, with drowning rates 5.5 times higher for Black children than of white children. So, for every white kid that drowns, 5.5 Black children drown. 79% of families earning less than $50,000 a year do not know how to swim and are less likely to enroll children into swim lesson programs. These statistics are discouraging for sure, but they have not been free from racial bias in attempts to explain and understand such statistics. Arguments have been presented to assert white supremacy, genetic racial inferiority, so on and so forth. But it's all crap, of course. There are no genetic, psychological, or biological reasons why any large generational population would be less capable of swimming based solely on race. Results from my Google survey. Who and what? I conducted a Google survey for about 3 days. This survey was posted via Instagram and Facebook. Within 3 days, 36 people responded. I collected this data and created several different graphs. This survey is still accessible via Instagram and in the video description below. My Instagram is @4majestic, and that's where you can access the link that'll take you to the survey. So the first thing I asked was, can you swim? So a lot of people said yes, they can swim a lap or more without stopping, which is awesome. A few people said no, they can only swim where they stand. Some people said they can, kind of swim, but it's basically just doggy paddling. And then for my next graph, I asked if their parents could swim. So a lot of people were still saying yes. A good amount of people were saying no as well. So kind of want to get those numbers down for sure. Some people were saying kind of. Some people were saying like one can fully swim and then another one can kind of swim. And then other people were saying that one parent can swim and then the other just simply cannot swim. So as you can see, there's definitely some margins in there, and we definitely want to get those numbers up for the amount of parents that are able to swim and the numbers down for those who cannot. So for my next slide, it is about who has taken lessons and who has swam on a swim team. So a lot of people that are 18 and over, they said that they haven't taken lessons. Um, and then what I really want to draw your eyes toward is how um, 5 and 5. So eight people who are 18 and over have taken lessons and they swim on a swim team, and then 5 people who are between 13 and 17 have also taken lessons and swim on a swim team. So it's kind of interesting how they match up. And then as you can see in the blue, there's 8 people. There were 8 people that are 18 and over and have taken lessons, and then in the brown there were 3 people who were 13 through 17 and they haven't had any lessons. For the next graph, my question was, do you think the swim community in the US is diverse? Definitely from personal experience, I can tell you that it is not. Being a competitive swimmer since I was 9 years old, I've definitely seen my fair share of swim communities. I was lucky enough to be on a all black swim team, so always had I was always training with people that looked like me and had the same drive as me. But definitely when you start to go to championship meets and travel for meets, you'll see the difference in the amount of diversity that's at each meet for sure. For these next 2 graphs, the first graph is asking, do you think COVID-19 increased or decreased interest in learning how to swim/join a team? As you can see, 75% of the people think that interest decreased and 25% think it increased. Personally, I think that when the pool started opening back up, but there were still regulations, I felt like there was an increase in swimming, but definitely during the beginning of COVID, when everything was shut down and we were just kind of cooped up in our house, that it definitely decreased. For the next graph, how many black children in the US can't swim? I talked a little bit about that earlier. It's 64%. A lot of the people picked 64%, which is awesome. A few people picked 75, and then some people picked 43. So as you can see, most people had a general idea of how many black people can swim, but I definitely wish the numbers were way lower, but we're getting there day by day, so that's why I'm doing this project, just pushing the initiative forward for sure. For these next two, the first one at the top, the question was, is swimming a life skill? Definitely. Swimming is a life skill. So I love how a lot of people, almost 30 people, picked yes. I'm glad that nobody picked no. Some people picked kinda, about like 6 people picked kinda, and then probably about 2 people said yes, kinda. So definitely want to get everybody on the same page. Swimming is definitely a life skill. You not only want to learn how to swim for yourself, but for the safety of others as well. And then talking about my second graph on this page, I asked people what do they think the percent of African American swimmers registered in the USA Swimming Foundation was, and a lot of people picked 5%. I wish it was 5%. I wish it was higher than 5%, but unfortunately, it is 1%. A few people picked 1, so that's great. And some people picked 10. So I definitely wish it was up there higher with 10%. But unfortunately, it is 1. So we definitely want to get those numbers up. The last question on my survey was, after taking this survey, do you want to learn more about swimming / want to learn how to swim? I'm very happy to say that 41.7% said yes. About 36% said kinda. About 20% said no. And about 3% said yes, kinda. So I'm very happy about these results. I'm glad that people are willing to learn more about the swim community or the swimming itself. And I definitely think that swimming, well, it is a fact. Swimming is a life skill. And the more you know, the more it'll benefit you. This question was definitely the most important to me because it gives me an idea of how much people are interested in swimming. And the results in this graph make me feel like my project is purposeful and it'll definitely make a positive impact in the long run. Thank you so much for watching my video. Tune in next time to learn more about the history. Why a generational fear of swimming has developed. My name is Malia Burrows, and I can't wait to swim with you next time.